I'm Mrs. McDonald, and I am here with one of my life hacks. And life hacks are things that I've learned along the way that I thought I'd pass along to you. This one is about dogs. Here is our precious puppy. He belongs to my daughter. His name is Lincoln. And 3 weeks ago, we almost lost him. He almost died. We took a very healthy, silly puppy into the vet. And whenever we left, we almost didn't have a pet. And it's not our vet's fault. Don't think that. We love our vet. But what happened is he had an allergic reaction to his shot. And I want to share what happened to me so that you remember to watch your animal and so that you have the guts to speak up if something starts to happen to your dog, because it can happen in a matter of minutes. He almost had sudden death, which is the most severe reaction that you can have to these shots. Most dogs do fine. We've had lots of dogs. We are dog people. We have 5 dogs right now, just because it's happened that way. We weren't planning on 5 dogs. To me, 3 is the best, but we're actually enjoying our 5. Lincoln is going to be a service dog. We took him in to get his shot, and when they gave it to him, he actually squealed quite a bit, which made me sad. Yes. But whenever we went out to pay our bill and leave, we were waiting for a while, thankfully. If we hadn't waited for a while, he could have been dead. We waited for a while for them to get everything in order, and I was getting other meds for my other dogs, and he fell asleep real fast. And not only did he fall asleep, but he was kind of droopy fall asleep, kind of strange. And his head kind of flunked off to the side. Ooh, where'd that toy go, Link? Am I going to have to put you down again? Oh, look how big he is now. I mean, he is 18 pounds. He likes to... My daughter was actually holding him kind of like this, and he fell asleep. And then his head just went floop. And then my daughter mentioned to me, Mom, his eyes are like half open, half closed. That's really weird. Like, it was different than his usual fall asleep. And so I turned to the counter. Just something didn't feel right. I turned to the counter, and I'm glad that I trusted my intuition. And I just said, is this normal? And one of the techs came and got him and said, we'll have a vet check him. And they took him back to the back really quick. And after they took him to the back, they came out a few minutes later. I was expecting them to say, oh, here he is, I thought maybe, they woke him up, like that would perk him up, just the action, and that he would be like, fooled ya. But no, they came out and said, why don't you go somewhere for about an hour? We're going to be giving him some fluids, and then you can come back. And we're like, okay. And we left. We came back. Whenever we came back, we went to the room, expected them to bring our puppy in, but they didn't. The tech came in and told us that he was coming out of it, that he had had a severe allergic reaction, anaphylactic, and that they had given him Benadryl and epinephrine and something else and IV fluids, and that he was now waking up, that he had been gray by the time he got back there. It was a severe reaction. We were then advised that we should take him to the animal hospital because they didn't have overnight there to watch him, and that he needed to be watched very closely, because by the time we might notice something, if we stayed up all night and watched him at our house, by the time that we noticed a symptom, it might be too late to save him. And it takes us 25 minutes to get to the nearest vet, the vet emergency place, and that he would probably die if he relapsed. So we admitted him, and it was really hard to leave him. Really, really hard, especially with him being a puppy. But I think they enjoyed having him there, and he didn't relapse, and he's okay. Cost us a fortune. My daughter had to pay a fortune, but he's healthy and he's doing well, and we just want you to know that if you go to the vet to get your shots, which we recommend, and nobody wants their dog to get distemper or lepto or any of that stuff, you need to protect them. But you need to be aware that after they get the shot, even if it's the 10th time they've gotten a shot, they could have a reaction. And some of the things, they might get hives, anything like a person might get from anaphylactic reaction or an allergic reaction. They could get hives, they could start to throw up, any of that. They can treat that. That's usually not life-threatening, but what he had was life-threatening. He almost had sudden death. And um, it was very scary and very upsetting, and we just would have, I don't even know how we would have handled it if he would have died. I mean, we only had him for a few weeks, but it was love at first sight, and he has us like wrapped around his little paw. And he's supposed to be a service dog for my daughter. We're raising him for we've had him since he was 2 months, so we've raised him for 10 months, training him basic obedience and such. And then in a year, he's going to be trained to become a service dog. And we just want you to know that when you take your dog to the vet, or your cat, I suppose, if they do anything different, you need to speak up. If we would have gotten in the car and thought he was asleep, and, well, it's a little weird, but he's asleep, all puppies go to sleep, he would have been dead. He would have been dead right there in my daughter's arms. Talk about traumatic. That would have been horrible. And I'm just so thankful that we happened to be there a few minutes late. So I recommend that you get it in your mind that it can happen to you. It happened to us. We've had a lot of dogs. It's never happened. We've always been okay. It happened to us. Watch for signs. Maybe hang out near the vet for a little while. Don't go racing home. Maybe just sitting there in the lounge for a little, or maybe even get in your car and, read an article or two in a magazine or on your phone. Make sure that the dog's going to be okay before you leave, because it can be bad. So what we're going to do is, now every time he gets a shot, he has to be pre-medicated. He has to be watched specially. We had to divide the shot up into different parts so that we can try to figure out which thing he reacted to. We already have given him half of the shot that he got before that he almost died, and he did well. And in 2 more weeks, he's going to go back and get the other half. It's a big ordeal now, because since he had a bad reaction, we have to take extra precautions. He's worth it. But after we're done getting the basic puppy shots, and when he gets his 1-year booster, we are going to have, sorry about that, his titers checked. And if he has an immunity to everything, we aren't going to get any more shots for him. We'll have it checked, and if he's protected, we would rather put the money into having him checked that way than have a booster every year or every 2 years, assuming that the titers are okay. So that's what we're going to do. That's my life hack, is be careful when you take your animals, whenever your animals get a shot, and when your kids get a shot too. It's kind of the same thing. Watch her reaction and be ready to act, and speak up if there's a problem. Okay? I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.